So my role here in next 10 minutes is to talk to you about how cardiac MR can be helpful in managing the patients with heart failure. Now obviously when it comes to heart failure, the first thing that you want to know is what is LV function or what is LVEF. That will help you to identify the patients with heart failure, whether they have reduced EF or preserved EF. And as we all know, echo is the mainstay technique for initial assessment of ejection fraction. But the reality is there are times when echo may be suboptimal or you may have challenges with proper endocardial border definition. So, in cases like this, it is hard to get the exact values. And here comes the role of cardiac MR. Cardiac MR gives us very high quality images. We take a series of short axis images extending from base of LV up to the apex, and then we basically go through the contour in diastole and systole and we calculate EDV, ESV, stroke volume and ejection fraction. And the beauty of this technique is no geometric assumption is being made, and in fact you'll get fairly good valuation data with lot of accuracy. Probably the second thing that you want to know apart from LV function is what is the underlying cause of heart failure, whether it is coronary disease or non-coronary disease. And obviously angiography is the first modality of choice. But there are situations where you may not want to proceed with angiography, and now the question is there any role of cardiac MR in identifying whether this is ischemic or non-ischemic cardiomyopathy? Several studies have been done in patients with chronic heart failure, and only by doing late gadolinium enhancement CMR, they could differentiate between both the conditions with high accuracy rate. In ischemic cardiomyopathy, infarct starts subendocardially and gradually over a period of time it extends transmurally, but subendocardium is always involved. In clinical management of patients with congestive heart failure caused by CAD, accurate assessment of myocardial viability is crucial to guide the treatment. This is because revascularization of dysfunctional but viable myocardium can improve ventricular function and long-term survival. These are the delayed enhancement images, and this is the area of infarct. Here in this case, only small portion of myocardium is not viable, and probability of increased contractility after revascularization in these two cases is 40 to 60%. Here in this case, more than 75% of myocardium is not viable, which is thinned out, and in this case, revascularization is not recommended. Here is the data from METHODIST showing likelihood of wall motion improvement in relation to transmural extent of hyperenhancement. This will help us to identify the patients who will improve after revascularization and who will not. We've already seen the pattern of hyperenhancement in ischemic heart disease. But what if we see the pattern of hyperenhancement that is mid-myocardial, subepicardial, or global subendocardial like this? That is the clue that this is not coronary artery disease and is something else. So in settings of non-ischemic etiology, we should look at the pattern of hyperenhancement, and that will give us the clue to identify the etiology. And depending upon the etiology, the management and prognosis of patient will be different. These are the causes of non-ischemic cardiomyopathy that can lead to heart failure. But the most important point here is we should not stop saying that this is idiopathic non-ischemic cardiomyopathy. Rather, actually with help of cardiac MR, we can nail down the diagnosis further, and that will help us to manage the patient. This is the case of symmetrical septal hypertrophy. You can see septum is much thicker than the lateral wall. You can also see the pattern of hyperenhancement or fibrosis. This is something which we don't see in coronary artery disease. And this is very typical pattern of hyperenhancement at RV insertion point and is diagnostic of HCM. CMR is helpful not only for diagnosing HCM but also has the prognostic implications. Here is the data published a couple of years back showing that increase in extent of LGE in patient with HCM is associated with increased risk of sudden cardiac death, end-stage HOCM, and heart failure. These are 3 different patients of LV hypertrophy who were referred to radiology department for further workup. The different enhancement pattern on CMR raised concern for alternative diagnosis of HCM. Post-grade images in this patient showed diffuse subendocardial hyperenhancement with septal subepicardial enhancement and early contrast washout. These raise concern for amyloidosis. Patient underwent myocardial biopsy and confirms the diagnosis of amyloidosis. This is the enhancement pattern in second patient. This raised concern for Anderson-Fabry disease. And this is the enhancement pattern in third patient. This is obviously not the enhancement pattern of HCM, and this raised concern for Dayton's disease. Both these patients underwent genetic testing and confirms the diagnosis of Anderson-Fabry disease and Dayton's disease. Let us move on to the another condition. This is the established workflow in patient with acute coronary syndrome. The role of cardiac MR comes in when coronary angio is normal to look for the other differentials like Takotsubo cardiomyopathy and myocarditis. Takotsubo cardiomyopathy is complex and probably underdiagnosed condition which has better prognosis and less aggressive treatment. CMR is the modality of choice for the diagnosis of Takotsubo cardiomyopathy, which shows apical akinesia with ballooning, hyperkinesia of basal septum, transmural hyperenhancement with myocardial edema and thickening, and lack of LGE. These features are many times associated with systolic ventricular dysfunction leading to reduced EF and clinical picture of heart failure. In case of acute myocarditis, here you can see hyperintense signal with myocardial edema and thickening, which is associated with subepicardial and mid-myocardial LGE. Whereas in case of chronic myocarditis, there is no evidence of hyperintense signal or myocardial edema. It is only subepicardial LGE. There is an interesting study where they did biopsy from IBS at site of hyperenhancement, and they could demonstrate the presence of active virus in approximately 90% of the cases. So at many places, CMR works as gatekeeper to identify the patients with suspected acute myocarditis, because if cardiac MR is normal, then the possibility of acute myocarditis is much less likely. What do we see in the cine images of this patient? Minimal pericardial effusion, LV hypertrophy, some RVH, LVEF was approximately 47%, reduced RVEF, etc. Probably on basis of these alone, this is not diagnostic of anything per se. And in patient with heart failure, this could be bad hypertensive disease, could this be amyloid, and could this be anything else? And then we gave gadolinium contrast and did late gadolinium enhancement CMR, and what we notice is diffuse uptake of contrast everywhere in LV and RV. And now this is very specific for amyloidosis. So this is how cardiac MR takes us beyond suspecting something. There are few other causes of non-ischemic cardiomyopathy that can lead to heart failure, which are better demonstrable on cardiac MR compared to other imaging modalities, which includes LV non-compaction, endomyocardial fibrosis, and iron overload cardiomyopathy. We can measure the value of iron overload by T2 star weighted sequences. And in this final group of patients with idiopathic DCM, where no other secondary cause is found, the several studies have been done concluding worse cardiovascular outcome, heart failure hospitalization, and sudden cardiac death in patients with LGE and myocardial scarring compared to those who do not have myocardial scarring. So, to sum up the role of cardiac MR, the first and foremost is accurate assessment of LV volumes and function. It is helpful for diagnosing and differentiating ischemic and non-ischemic cardiomyopathy, and LGE or fibrosis that we see on CMR is helpful for diagnosing many cardiomyopathies and for the better understanding of prognosis of the patients. Thanks for your attention.